in fading nights, born of storm and sacred rites. From burning roots to mirrored skies, and we rise and we fight, we crystallize. Mist rings awaken.